The United States uses a lot of money for its military. Think about other countries. China, Russia, India, and other big countries spend money on their militaries. But the U.S. spends more money than many of these countries together. It spends more than the next 10 countries combined. So where does all this money go? This large amount of money buys many things for the military. It pays the salaries for soldiers and the people who work for the military. This money buys big things like ships and tanks. It also buys very expensive planes for fighting, like fighter jets. Some military planes cost many millions of dollars. There are also special missiles that cost over $1 million each. The money is also used to create new weapons and technology for the future. This is called research and development. The military also has bases in many countries around the world. Keeping these bases running costs money too. In this book, we want to look closely at this money. We will see where the money goes in detail. We want to understand why the United States spends so much more than any other country on its military. And most important, we will think about if all this military spending really helps keep the country safe. 2. Where the money goes. Big spending parts. Where does the large amount of money go? A very big part is for operations and maintenance. This cost is for keeping the military running every day. It includes money for transportation, like fuel for all the vehicles, planes, ships, and trucks. It pays for keeping equipment fixed and ready for use. Training for soldiers is also paid from this money, so they know how to do their jobs well. Administrative costs, like office work needed to manage everything, are in this part too. This section of spending, taking billions of dollars, covers more specific things. It includes healthcare services for people serving in the military. In 2023, this was $39 billion just for health services. The money also goes to cleaning up the environment in places the military used many years ago. Sometimes, old military sites need work to fix problems like spilled chemicals or old bombs. This money helps make those places safe. The military also uses some money for helping people in big natural disasters and for programs to stop illegal drugs. They even spent $10 million for security at big international sports events. Running military bases around the world costs a lot too. The United States has about 1,250 bases open. Around 800 of these are in other countries far from America. Keeping these bases going every day is expensive. The military tries to make people working there feel comfortable, like they are close to home, even when they are far away. They build places like small American towns on these bases, with popular fast food places and stores that have things from the United States. This helps the soldiers and staff feel less far from home. Another big part of the money is used for the people who work for the military. This includes the soldiers serving full-time, people ready to serve if needed, called reservists, and also civilians working for the military in different jobs. In 2023, this cost for all the people was $172 billion. This large amount pays for their salaries. It also pays for their health care when they are sick or hurt. And it pays for their retirement money. The military is a very big employer. By some counts, it employs over 3.4 million people. They also spend money to find new people with special skills, like $28 million to hire experts in artificial intelligence in 2023. These two areas, running the military day-to-day and paying the millions of people, take a very large share of the total money spent. 3. Making new things, future weapons and places. The military uses billions of dollars to create new things for the future. This money is for research and development. The goal is to find new technology. This helps the military have an advantage in war. They want to be better than others. They are developing many new ideas and tools. For example, they are working with artificial intelligence, known as AI. AI can help by quickly looking at film from drones. It can also help find targets more exactly. They are also building robots that can go under the sea. These are like robot submarines. Powerful lasers are another new technology. These lasers are being made to use on ships to attack other vessels. For soldiers, they have tried to build special suits called exoskeletons. These suits could make soldiers stronger and help them carry heavy items for a long time. This kind of technology is still being tested and improved. Sometimes, things first made for the military are used by everyone later. GPS is one example. This system helps people find their way using phones or car systems. Small flying machines, called drones, were also first used by the military. Other everyday things like voice recognition, the computer mouse for computers, and even the Internet itself started as military projects. So, military research spending can bring useful things for the public too. The military also spends money to build new places. This is for new buildings and facilities where soldiers and equipment can be kept. They build these new places at home in the United States and in other countries. This part of the spending is also billions of dollars, but it is less than the money for research or other big costs. Building these facilities helps the military work and keep things ready for any future needs. 4. Buying a lot of weapons. This part of the military budget is about buying things. It is called procurement. It is where the military gets its equipment. The government spends a very large amount of money here. In one recent year, this cost was $167 billion. This amount of money is very big. It is like the total money the country of Ethiopia makes in a whole year. The military buys many different kinds of items. Some of these things are very large. Some are very, very expensive. For example, they buy modern fighter jets. One type of jet is very advanced and costs a lot. One single jet costs about $142 million. In 1 year, the United States bought 77 of these expensive jets. The plan was to buy 83 more jets the next year. These special jets are also costly to operate and fly after they are bought. They also buy weapons like missiles. A type of missile that can travel far costs a lot of money. Each one costs about $1.6 million. Last year, the military bought a large number of these missiles, 600 of them. Think about that cost for just missiles. The Army needs vehicles to move its soldiers and supplies. They buy many different types of vehicles. One common vehicle used to move troops costs about $372,000. In 1 year, the Army bought about 3,700 of these vehicles. In the following year, they plan to buy 3,100 more. The Navy buys large ships for the sea. They recently bought 3 very big ships, called destroyers, for $8.2 billion. The Army also needs aircraft. They bought 56 Black Hawk helicopters. These helicopters cost $1.2 billion. The military also bought other types of jets, like 24 F-15 jets, for $2.8 billion. These examples are just a few items from a very long list. The total list of things the military buys includes thousands and thousands of different items. It costs a huge amount of money every year to buy all these weapons, vehicles, ships, and aircraft. This buying process is a very significant part of the total money spent on the military. 5. Big Army, Big World. A top country's cost. The U.S. military is different from many other countries' armies. Most armies protect their own country and its borders. But the U.S. military is much bigger than this. It is all around the world. It has bases in many countries, more than 1,000 in total if you count different types of sites. This means the U.S. military can be in almost any part of the planet very quickly. Because it is everywhere, it acts like a kind of policeman for the world. It helps keep things in order in many places, on different continents and oceans. It works to make sure the rules and ways of the world that the U.S. supports are followed across the globe. This global job, this role of being the main power that keeps watch everywhere, is a big reason why the U.S. spends so much money on its military. Being present in so many countries and areas of the sea, air, and land with people, ships, and planes is very expensive. Running many bases far from home costs a lot of money every year. This cost is for the U.S. to have a big effect everywhere and help shape world events. There are also big problems with how the military keeps track of its money and things it buys. The Pentagon, which is like the head office for the military, has trouble counting everything it has and knowing exactly where its money goes. For several years, outside people, like accountants, have tried to check all their money reports and items, but they could not finish the check well. They found that the Pentagon cannot show clearly where all the money and items are. It is like they do not know where many of the things they bought are located. This problem with counting and tracking costs can mean the military might even buy things it already owns but cannot find. Not passing these money checks is a serious problem for such a large part of the government budget. Even when the U.S. is not fighting in big wars like in Afghanistan or Iraq, which have ended for U.S. troops, the military spending keeps going up. The cost of keeping the U.S. military ready and acting around the world is very high and seems to increase over time. It is a cost for being a top country with a big presence everywhere. This big job needs a lot of money, but sometimes tracking that money seems hard, and the total cost keeps growing year after year. 6. Big companies get the money. A large part of the money for the military goes to companies. These are private businesses, not government offices. They build things and offer services for the military. More than half of the total money, about 54% of the large military budget, is paid to these private companies each year. This means hundreds of billions of dollars every year flow to these businesses. A few very big companies receive most of this money. People often call these companies the Big Five. Important names include companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, General Dynamics, and Northrop Grumman. Years ago, there were many more companies working in this area of defense. But over the last 3 decades, these big companies became much larger. They bought many of the smaller companies, leaving fewer competitors. Today, the military government, known as the Pentagon, relies heavily on these few big companies for important things the country needs for defense. If the government needs a specific new weapon system, like a new fighter jet, often only one of these large companies makes it. This means the government does not have many other places to buy from. When there is not much choice for the buyer, like the government in this case, companies can sometimes charge higher prices. This is one reason why the government may pay very high costs for military items. There are examples where prices seemed much too high. For a small metal part called a ball bearing, a government report found that one company charged over $3,000. The military's own records showed it could buy the exact same small part from its own storage for only about $15.42. The price of some weapons has also increased greatly over time. For example, the price of one type of missile went from around $25,000 to nearly $500,000 in about 20 years. This was a much faster price increase than the general rise in prices for other goods during that time. Studies have sometimes shown that these defense companies make very big profits from their work with the military. Profits of 40% or even 50% have been reported on some projects. This is often much higher than the profits made in many other types of business. There have also been problems with companies overcharging for services they provide. For instance, one company was found to charge much more than the actual cost, about 30 or 40% more, for providing food in dining halls for soldiers serving overseas. These situations show how a large amount of military money goes to a small number of big private companies. The lack of strong competition means the government might pay very high prices for what it needs, leading to large profits for these defense businesses. 7. How companies get more money. Companies that make military things want to get more money from the government. They use several ways to make this happen. One important way is talking to lawmakers. Lawmakers are the people in government who decide how to spend public money. These companies spend millions of dollars to help lawmakers get elected. They give money to the campaigns of politicians from different groups. They also invite lawmakers to see their factories and weapons. They try to build good relationships. Their goal is to encourage lawmakers to vote for more money for the military. When the military budget is bigger, the companies can win larger contracts. Another way is called the revolving door. This means that people who work high-level jobs in the government or military often leave those jobs and go to work for defense companies. Sometimes they even return to government jobs later. For example, a military leader might retire and then join the board of a big defense company. These people have special knowledge from inside the government. They know how decisions are made and who is important to talk to. This helps the companies get more information and influence. Some lawmakers who vote on the military budget also own shares in defense companies. If a company gets a big contract from the government, its stock price might go up. This means the lawmakers' money increases because they own part of the company. This is a problem because the lawmaker should be thinking about the country, not their own money. It is seen as a conflict of interest. Maybe the biggest way companies get support is by creating jobs across the country. Defense companies build factories and offices in many different states. They make planes, ships, and other equipment in these places. This provides many jobs for people in those areas. Lawmakers from those states want these jobs to stay. They know that if the companies in their state get more military contracts, the companies will continue to hire people there. So, these lawmakers work hard to get more money for defense companies in their state. This helps the lawmakers get reelected because they are seen as protecting local jobs. Companies plan this to get support from lawmakers in many different parts of the country. This system creates strong reasons for many people in power to support spending more money on the military. It can be good for the company's profits, good for the careers of politicians, and good for jobs in certain towns. But critics ask if this system always leads to the best decisions for the country's safety. 8. Is more money making us safe? Many people agree that a country needs a military to protect itself from attacks by other countries. Having a strong military can make other nations less likely to start a war. This idea is based on showing power so enemies do not try to harm you. Building advanced weapons and having well-trained soldiers are part of this approach to safety. It is about being prepared for conflict. Some people believe this kind of strength is the most important thing for national safety. But focusing only on military power might not be enough for true safety, and it has costs. When one country spends a lot on defense, other countries feel they must do the same to keep up. This can start an arms race, where everyone builds more and more weapons. History shows this can lead to dangerous times. For example, the buildup of weapons during the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union created a lot of fear. A race for military power does not always lead to peace. The money spent on the military budget is very large. This means less money is available for other things that make life better and safer for people. This money could be used for important public services. It could pay for better education for children. It could improve health care for families. It could help build clean energy projects to protect the environment and fight climate change. These investments also help keep people safe and healthy in their daily lives. Safety is not just about military defense. It is also about the safety and well-being of people at home. This includes having strong infrastructure, like safe bridges and roads that do not fall apart. It includes access to clean drinking water and clean air. It includes having jobs that pay enough money and opportunities for people to learn and grow. When people feel safe and secure in their communities and have good lives, the country is stronger in many ways. We have seen how the military budget system works. Large companies get big contracts to build weapons. These companies work to influence politicians to keep military spending high. This raises questions about why so much money is spent and if it is truly making everyone safer. Is the focus on national security, or is it also about profits for companies and political benefits? Perhaps we need to think differently about safety. Maybe investing in health, education, and jobs is also a way to build a strong and safe country. Maybe working harder on peace and diplomacy with other nations instead of just building more weapons is a better path. Think about all the different things that make you feel safe. What do you think is most important for a country's safety?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.